Story 1. The House with the Black Pumpkin. It was Halloween night, 2017, one of those perfectly cold, orange-lit evenings where the leaves swirled around like they're alive. I was 16 at the time, too old to be trick-or-treating, but too young to stay home doing nothing. My best friend Josh convinced me to go with him and his little sister, Emily. "Just come for the walk, man," he said. "It's not about candy, it's about the vibes." We started around 7:30, when the streets were still busy. Kids ran from house to house in cheap costumes, laughing, bags clinking with candy. But by 9 p.m., things got quieter. The younger kids were gone, and the streets started to empty. That's when Josh noticed a house we hadn't seen before. It sat on the corner of Maple and Vine, tucked between two darkened homes. No porch lights, no decorations, except for one thing: a black pumpkin sitting perfectly in the middle of the porch steps. It looked painted, matte black, not carved. And beside it, a handwritten sign on cardboard: "One per visitor. Don't knock. Don't speak." Emily giggled. "Maybe they're giving away full-size bars." Josh shrugged. "Or razor blades." We laughed, but something about that house felt off. It wasn't abandoned. The windows had curtains, the lawn was trimmed, but there was no light inside. Just that single black pumpkin. Josh dared me to go grab whatever candy was inside. I hesitated, but I didn't want to look scared in front of his sister. I walked up the creaky steps, heart thumping. The air felt heavy, almost electric. When I reached the pumpkin, I saw there was a small opening on top. I reached in. I pulled out a small plastic bag, tied tight, no label, no wrapper, just a lump of something soft inside. "Ew, what the hell is this?" Josh called from the sidewalk. "Open it, dude!" I untied it and instantly gagged. Inside was a bloody piece of raw meat, still warm. I dropped it. "What the F is this?" Emily screamed and Josh started to laugh, until the porch light suddenly flicked on. We froze. The light revealed the inside of the house through a crack in the curtains, and there was someone standing there, perfectly still, watching. A tall figure, face hidden by shadow. But what I remember most clearly was the smile, the faint curve of pale lips under the dim light. We ran. None of us said a word for blocks. When we finally stopped, Emily was crying, and Josh looked like he'd seen a ghost. "You saw that, right? The guy in the window?" I nodded, shaking. He was smiling. The next morning, we told Josh's mom what happened. She called the police, but by the time they went to check, the house was empty. No furniture, no curtains, just dust. The weirdest part? There was a pumpkin on the porch, but it wasn't black. It was rotted, with a human tooth embedded in its side. The cops told us the house had been abandoned for over 3 years, ever since an elderly man named Howard Tate disappeared on Halloween night 2014. They said kids used to dare each other to knock on his door every Halloween, until one year, he didn't answer. His door was open, and his candy bowl was full of raw meat. Every Halloween since, someone said they saw a black pumpkin appear on the porch, and anyone who touched it reported seeing a man in the window, smiling. I don't go near Maple and Vine anymore, but last year I drove by just to see for myself. The house is gone, bulldozed, but sitting at the empty lot's edge was a single black pumpkin. Perfectly new, untouched by time.
Story 2. The Trick-or-Treater Who Wouldn't Leave. Last year I moved to a quiet neighborhood in Ohio. Small town, friendly people, normal stuff. It was my first Halloween in the new house, and I went all out. Cobwebs, fake skeletons, motion-activated ghosts, the works. By 9 p.m., most kids had stopped coming. I turned off the porch light and started cleaning up the candy wrappers when I heard a knock. 3 slow knocks. I frowned. No light, no sound from outside. Probably a late straggler. I opened the door. A little boy stood there. He couldn't have been more than 8 years old. He wore a dirty, oversized clown mask and an old suit that looked like it came from a thrift store. No parent, no friends, just him. "Trick or treat," he said, voice muffled behind the mask. I smiled awkwardly. "Hey buddy, sorry, I think you're the last one tonight. Candy's all gone." He tilted his head slightly. The mask was old, the kind with tiny mesh eye holes. But behind it, I saw something moving, like his eyes were darting too fast, too unnatural. Then he spoke again, slower this time. "Trick or treat?" I laughed nervously. "Yeah, I said we're out, kiddo. Maybe try the house across the street." He didn't move. He just stood there, breathing heavily through the mask. The air from his nose made a faint whistling sound. I was starting to get uncomfortable. "All right, time to head home," I said, closing the door halfway. He slammed his hand on the door frame. His small fingers were ice cold, pale, almost gray. I froze. "Hey, that's enough," he whispered. "You forgot to give me something." I slammed the door shut. My heart was pounding. I went to the window, peeked through the blinds, and he was still standing there, motionless, facing the door. After a few minutes, I turned off every light and went upstairs, hoping he'd leave. But around 2 a.m., I woke up to a noise. Knock, knock, knock. I jumped out of bed, grabbed my phone, and crept downstairs. Through the peephole, I saw nothing until I looked down. The boy was sitting cross-legged on my porch. He had his candy bag in his lap, staring at the door. I called the police. They arrived 15 minutes later, but when they checked the porch, he was gone. Just gone. They searched the neighborhood, nothing. They told me it was probably a prank, but I knew that wasn't right. The next morning, I found something taped to my door, a folded piece of paper. Inside was a Polaroid photo. It showed me standing in the doorway last night, staring at the boy. But the background wasn't my porch. It was a cemetery. And behind me, in the shadows, was the same boy, without the mask. His face was pale, sunken, eyes black as coal. Later that day, I asked the neighbor about it. She turned pale when I described him. She told me there was a boy named Eddie who used to live down the street. He disappeared on Halloween night in 1998. The last house he was seen at? Mine. Every year since, people said they saw a masked boy trick-or-treating alone. And anyone who refuses him candy finds a Polaroid at their door the next day. This year, I'll leave my porch light on all night, and I'll make sure to leave a candy bar by the door. Because I know Eddie's still out there, and I don't ever want to see what happens if he has to come inside.